Welcome to another deep dive with us. We're going to be checking out this YouTube audiobook that seems to be everywhere. It's
Mm.
called Harness Your Mind's Power, Bend the Universe to Your Will.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that around.
Have you? Yeah. It's, millions of views, so something must be resonating with people.
Yeah,
So let's get into it.
let's do it.
And the audiobook jumps right into it. Chapter 1 is all about something they call thought power.
Okay.
And it asks kind of a simple question, but, one that we don't always think about. You ever notice how your mood can, totally change based on, what's going through your head?
Oh, for sure.
One
Well,
minute you're feeling great, and then the next you're, spiraling into, anxiety.
Yeah.
And the audiobook's point is that our thoughts aren't just, these random things happening. They're actually shaping our experiences.
Right.
Our thoughts are actually shaping what happens to us.
Yeah, it's interesting how, that whole concept has, gone mainstream in a way.
Yeah.
Like that classic magnet analogy,
Yeah.
About attracting good or bad things.
Yeah.
But this audiobook, it kind of takes it a step further, I think.
Right.
It's not just about, attracting. It's what frequency your thoughts are on, and how that frequency interacts with everything around you.
That's a really good way to put it. Our thoughts are almost like emitting a certain energy,
Mm-hmm.
and that attracts similar experiences.
Yeah, it's like we're broadcasting a signal, and the universe is picking it up.
Yeah, totally. And the audiobook gives this example of a guy named John. He's basically like this walking negativity magnet. Everything that happens to him is just bad luck.
Yeah.
But then, the book talks about how he actively changes his thought patterns.
Oh, interesting.
And things start to shift for him. It's not that he suddenly, won the lottery.
Right.
It's that his whole perception of reality changes.
I think that's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
It's not about, suddenly getting lucky.
Right.
It's like you're actually changing the way you see the world.
Yeah, and the audiobook's big takeaway there is that becoming aware of our thought patterns is, step one.
Yeah.
Are we on autopilot, defaulting to negativity?
Right.
Or are we actually choosing to think more positive thoughts?
Right.
Which is easier said than done, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a muscle you have to train.
Totally. And then the audiobook goes into visualization chapter 2.
Okay.
It emphasizes that visualization isn't just daydreaming.
Mm.
It's about actually creating this blueprint for the life you want.
I love how they talk about using all your senses in visualization.
Oh, yeah.
Not just seeing what you want, but feeling it, hearing it, even smelling it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever actually tried that?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how much more real it feels when you engage all those senses.
Right. It's like your brain can't tell the difference between a vivid visualization and something that's actually happening.
Exactly. It's like you're pre-living the experience in your mind.
And I'm sure there's actual science behind that.
Oh, absolutely. Studies show that visualization actually activates the same neural pathways as actually doing the activity.
No way.
Yeah. It's like a mental rehearsal that prepares us for the real thing.
Wow, so it's not just some woo-woo thing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's actually a very practical tool for priming our brains for success.
And the audiobook talks about this woman named Sarah who wanted to start her own business.
Okay.
And she visualized it down to the smallest detail.
Wow.
Her office space, the feeling of signing a big contract, even the smell of fresh coffee in her office.
Oh, nice.
And eventually she actually did it. She manifested her dream business into reality.
That's incredible. It's like she pre-lived that success in her mind.
Yeah, and by doing that, she was actually aligning her energy with her goal.
Exactly. It's about sending a powerful signal to the universe through those detailed, sensory-rich visualizations.
Powerful stuff. And then comes chapter 3 and the big one, the law of attraction, which we've all heard of that, attracts. But the audiobook really emphasizes that it's not just about thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
Right.
They think, oh, I'll just think happy thoughts and money will magically appear.
Yeah, it's a magic spell or something.
Exactly. But the audiobook makes it clear that the law of attraction is a process. It's an ongoing alignment of our energy.
Right. It's not a one-time wish.
Not at all. It's about consistently aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with our desires.
So it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's about cultivating a certain frequency,
Yeah.
and staying in that vibration.
And the audiobook is this great example of this guy named Mark who wanted to be an author, but he was like totally stuck. He
Yeah.
had all these ideas, but he wasn't like actually writing.
Writer's block. I know that feeling.
Right. But then he starts applying the law of attraction. He gets clear on his intentions, visualizes his book being published, and then like he actually starts writing.
There you go.
It wasn't just about thinking positive, it was about taking action.
Exactly. That's a really important distinction the audiobook makes between like forced action and inspired action.
Oh, yeah. What's that about?
So forced action is like when you're doing something out of desperation or fear, you know, but inspired action is when it flows naturally from your vision, from your passion.
So it's like with Mark, his writing wasn't a chore anymore.
Right. It was fueled by his excitement, by his alignment with his goal.
It reminds me of that saying, do what you love and the money will follow.
Exactly.
But it's not just about money. It's about finding that thing that like lights you up.
Yeah. It's about that sweet spot where your actions feel effortless because they're aligned with your true desires.
Totally. And that's when the magic happens, right?
Absolutely. And that's a good place to stop for part 1 of this deep dive.
All right, we'll be back soon with more from Harness Your Mind's Power.
See you in part 2.
So we left off talking about, finding that sweet spot where your actions feel effortless. Right, that inspired action.
Exactly. Where it's not a chore, it's like you're in the flow.
Totally. And then the audiobook gets into emotions, chapter 4.
Okay.
It's not just about thoughts. It's about, like, feeling those thoughts,
Oh, yeah. The emotional side of things is huge.
Right. They call it, like, emotional alchemy.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like thoughts are the map, but emotions are the engine that, like, actually propels us towards our goals.
I love that analogy.
Me too. The audiobook even has this, like, car analogy.
Oh, tell me about it.
So it's like if we're feeling excited and passionate about our goal, we're like speeding towards it. But if we're filled with doubt and fear, we're basically hitting the brakes.
Right. We're stalling out.
Yeah, and the audiobook tells this story about this guy named Alex who was stuck in a job he hated.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, haven't we all at some point?
Right.
But like he really wanted a career change.
Yeah.
But his negative emotions were like holding him back.
It's like they were sabotaging him.
Totally. So he starts working on shifting those feelings, practicing gratitude, visualizing his dream job with like tons of excitement.
So he's raising his emotional frequency to match his desired outcome.
Exactly. And guess what? Things start to shift for him.
That's amazing. I love those stories of transformation.
Me too. It's like proof that we really do have the power to change our reality.
Absolutely. And the audiobook has some great tips for like harnessing our emotions.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, gratitude practice is huge.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to do that more.
Me too. It's so powerful for shifting your energy from lack to abundance.
Totally. It's like instead of focusing on what you don't have,
Right.
you're appreciating what you already do have.
And that sends a totally different signal to the universe.
Exactly. And what else did they talk about?
They talked about reframing negative feelings.
Oh, interesting.
Like instead of letting fear paralyze you, can you transform it into excitement?
Oh, I like that.
It's like taking those negative emotions and like turning them into fuel for your dreams.
That's a really cool way to look at it.
And they also talked about using the breath to regulate your emotional state.
Oh, yeah, the breath is so powerful.
Isn't it? It's like that instant reset button when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Totally. Like when you're feeling anxious or stressed.
Exactly. Just a few deep breaths can calm your nervous system and bring you back to center.
It's like taking a moment to pause and reconnect with yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a bit of a challenge. Chapter 5 is all about limiting beliefs.
Oh, those are the worst.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We all have them.
It's like those little voices in your head telling you you're not good enough.
Or that you can't do it or that you don't deserve it.
Yeah, it's like they hold us back from our full potential.
Totally. And the audiobook makes this really interesting point about how those beliefs often stem from childhood experiences.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like things we were told repeatedly when we were young,
Interesting.
and we end up accepting them as facts even when they're not true.
It's like they become these self-fulfilling prophecies.
Exactly. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll unconsciously sabotage your efforts.
Wow, that's deep.
It is. But the good news is that we can reprogram our minds.
Really? How do we do that?
It's about becoming aware of those limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
challenging them, and then replacing them with empowering ones.
So it's like not denying our past experiences, but choosing to create a new narrative.
Exactly. And the audiobook tells this great story about an artist named Maria.
Okay.
She believed she couldn't make a living from her art.
Oh, the starving artist myth.
Right. She was surrounded by that narrative until she started questioning it.
And what happened?
She started affirming her art's value, believing in her own talent.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up finding success. She created a thriving art business.
That's awesome. So it's like we really can change our beliefs.
We absolutely can. It takes work, but it's possible.
And that's incredibly empowering.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then chapter 6 takes a bit of a turn. We're getting into the world of quantum physics.
Ooh, this is where it gets a little mind-bending.
I know, right? But it's fascinating stuff.
So how does quantum physics tie into manifestation?
Well, the audiobook talks about this concept called the observer effect,
Okay.
which basically suggests that the act of observing something actually changes its reality at the quantum level.
Oh, hold on. What does that even mean?
It's a complex topic, but the takeaway is that our attention, our focus, our thoughts and emotions, all of that energy can actually influence reality.
So it's like we're not just passive observers, we're active participants in creating our reality.
Exactly. And they tell this story about a guy named Daniel who was struggling financially.
Okay.
And he starts applying these quantum principles to his financial life, shifting his focus from lack to abundance.
And what happened?
Things started to change for him. He attracted new opportunities. His income increased.
It's like he tapped into a different frequency.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the audiobook is ultimately saying. We have the power to influence reality with our minds.
That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And then chapter 7 brings us back to something a little more practical, affirmations.
Oh yeah, affirmations. I've tried those before.
Me too. They can be really powerful.
So what does the audiobook say about affirmations?
It highlights the science behind them, like how repetition activates neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity, what's that?
It basically means that our brains can change and adapt.
Oh, interesting.
So when we repeat affirmations consistently, we're literally rewiring our brains to align with those desired beliefs.
So it's not just wishful thinking, there's actual science backing it up.
Exactly. And the audiobook tells this story about a woman named Claire who was struggling with self-doubt in her career.
Okay.
She started using affirmations like, I am worthy of success, and I have the skills to create the career I desire.
Mm-hmm.
And she repeated those affirmations every day with feeling.
And it worked.
It did. She ended up landing her dream job.
That's awesome. So affirmations are like consciously choosing the thoughts you want to think.
Exactly. And by doing that, you're changing your beliefs and ultimately creating a new reality.
Powerful stuff. And then we get to the abundance formula in chapter 8.
This is a good one.
Yeah, it's all about attracting wealth and prosperity.
Not just financially, though.
Right. But in all areas of life.
Exactly. It's about cultivating an abundance mindset.
So what's the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset?
What a scarcity mindset is based on fear and limitation. You know, that feeling that there's not enough to go around.
Uh-huh.
But an abundance mindset believes in unlimited possibilities.
So it's like shifting from a fear of lack to a belief in abundance.
Exactly. And the audiobook tells this inspiring story about an entrepreneur named Jordan.
Okay.
He was struggling with a scarcity mindset, always worried about money.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
But he shifted to an abundance mindset, practicing gratitude, affirming his openness to wealth.
What happened?
His business took off. She started attracting new opportunities and clients.
That's incredible. So it's not just about wishing for more, it's about believing that there's enough for everyone.
Exactly. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of abundance that's already present in the universe.
And that's a great place to pause for part 2 of this deep dive.
We'll be back with more insights from Harness Your Mind's Power
Yeah.
in part 3. It's like almost like a cliffhanger.
Right. Like, what seed are we going to plant today?
It really gets you thinking.
Yeah.
It's like a challenge. You
Yeah,
know?
it's like, okay, we've learned all this stuff.
Right.
But now what?
Are we actually going to like put it into practice?
Exactly. Are we going to use these tools to create the life we want? Or are we just going to,
Go back to our old ways.
go back to autopilot? And I think the seed analogy is so perfect because it reminds us that, like, things take time.
Mhm.
You can't just plant a seed and expect it to, like, instantly bloom.
Oh, for sure.
It needs, like, nurturing and patience and the right conditions.
Right. It's a process.
Yeah, and manifestation is the same way.
Absolutely. It's about consistency and trust.
And I think, like, sometimes we get so caught up in wanting, instant results.
Yeah, we want the quick fix.
But that's not really how it works.
Not usually, no. Like, We're learning to be gardeners of our own lives,
I love that.
tending to our dreams with care and attention.
And sometimes that means, like, weeding out the negative thoughts and beliefs.
Oh yeah, those weeds can be tough to pull.
Totally. They're, like, choking the growth of our desires.
Exactly. And just like a garden needs sunlight and water, our intentions need nourishment.
Oh, that's good. Like, what kind of nourishment?
Well, positive energy, for
Right.
one, inspired action that's huge,
Mm-hmm.
and also a belief in ourselves, that we can actually do this.
I think that's so important, that self-belief.
Totally. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, who will?
Right. And that's where, like, those limiting beliefs can really sabotage us.
Oh yeah, they can creep back in.
And it's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen right away.
Mm-hmm.
But the audiobook really emphasizes that, like, the universe is working with us,
Yeah, it's got our backs.
even when we can't see the results yet.
It's like trusting that the seeds we've planted are growing beneath the surface.
I love that. And it's about finding joy in the journey, too.
Oh, absolutely. The journey is just as important as the destination.
And I think that's a really beautiful way to wrap up this whole conversation about manifestation.
Yeah, it's not about forcing things to happen.
Right.
It's about aligning with the universe's flow.
And trusting that everything is unfolding as it should.
Exactly. And that's
Oh.
what makes it so exciting,
Yeah. It's like we're not in control, but we're also not powerless.
Right. It's a beautiful paradox.
Totally. So there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the world of manifestation, inspired by Harness Your Mind's Power, Bend the Universe to Your Will.
Such a good one.
Yeah, whether you're like a total newbie to this stuff or you've
Like-
been manifesting for years,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully this conversation has given you some new insights.
Or maybe just a fresh perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And remember, the power to create the life you desire lies within you.
It really does.
The universe is your ally, and you are capable of manifesting your dreams.
Absolutely. So go out there and plant those seeds.
Nurture them, water them with
You
intention.
may watch them grow.
And until next time, keep those intentions high, those vibes lifted, and those actions aligned.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Bye, everyone.